And it was almost a relief for my mind to see the family in full on the balcony yesterday. We understand the King is delighted by Princess Catherine's return appearance. This must also be a huge weight off his shoulders, no doubt.
Well, you're right. I mean, just a few weeks ago, it was very uncertain as to what sort of Trooping the Colour we would see, whether we were going to see the King there, whether he was going to be travelling in a carriage or horseback, how he was feeling on the day. And that's very much, par for the course for the Princess of Wales as well, because as she said herself, that there have been some particularly tough times over the last few weeks and months. And certainly her chemotherapy treatment is obviously going to take its toll. And I think that we've seen both Buckingham Palace and Kensington Palace say that it's very, very much sort of a moving of chess pieces, shall we say. It's very much a case of seeing how they feel on the day. And that will be going forward for not only the King's diary over the summer, but for the Princess of Wales as well. And, while it was fantastic to see her, she said that she wanted to be there for her family. Of course, the King was absolutely delighted that he could have his daughter-in-law there as well. They've shared many very close moments over the last few months going through this cancer treatment sort of side by side, if you will. So, very, very much a sort of a baby steps moment for Kate, but she looked great. Her family were there to support her. And I think that everybody was sending their best wishes both of their ways.
And of course, the events of yesterday give us cause to look to the future, as you touched on a little earlier. People are already surmising about this, but what in your view do you think that the future months hold insofar as Princess Catherine is concerned?
Well, I think this, the weekend will have certainly taken its toll. She definitely needs to concentrate, as I said, on her rest and recuperation whilst undergoing this cancer treatment. We know that she's not going to be at the Order of the Garter service this week. She won't be at Royal Ascot. I would expect to see the King and the Queen and other members of the royal family at the racing festival over certain days. But I think it's very much a case of sort of getting back to work slowly. We saw her early years childhood development program being launched, the business task force just a few weeks ago. We know that she was totally across that report, which is going to go on to some fantastic things later on the year, I'm sure. But it's about meetings. It's about sort of meeting with the private secretaries, working out what she can do on any given day. So I think look at the pillars of her work. That's certainly childhood development. That's certainly mental health. We may see her sort of tiptoeing back into that sphere. But, as I said, this could change at any moment. I think the palace have been particularly cautious, as was Kate in her message. So we won't know until sort of a day before if she's going to be out and about. But hopefully we'll see her at a few engagements over the summer.
Now, Russell, there have been some great yarns in your masthead, The Mirror, this week. First is a report about the King directly asking Harry to stop talking about the family in public. What do we know about this conversation?
Well, it's interesting because, we've discussed many, many times over many months, haven't we, about Prince Harry's relationship, or certainly the fractiousness of the relationship with not only the King, but his brother, the Prince of Wales, and the rest of the royal family. And Harry has been back in the UK a couple of times in recent months, first to see his father when he was diagnosed with cancer, and then to celebrate the 10th year anniversary of the Invictus Games, where he didn't get to see the King or his brother. And I think that certain members of the family have told Harry, if he wants a relationship with the rest of the family, then first and foremost, he's got to stop talking about them. We've had the Oprah Winfrey interview, then we had the Netflix series, then we had the explosiveness of his memoir, and it just kept coming and coming and coming over those months, sort of a year or two ago. And I think that certainly for Harry and Meghan, they need to sort of realise that if they're going to have a relationship with the rest of the royal family, they can't go about trashing them. They can't go about making money off their associations with the royal family. And hopefully they'll see that the royal family is very, very united without them. And, if they do want a relationship moving forward, then they kind of need to take the sting out of their relationships and the things they say sometimes.
I think that's fair enough. Also, an interesting yarn into how a probe into the Beckhams' tax affairs could get between David and a knighthood. What's the issue here?
Well, it's a big issue. I mean, certainly, a lot of people would say that David Beckham, fantastic ambassador, not only for football and various sporting events. He was an ambassador for the Olympics when we had it here in 2012. But of course, he's a huge charity ambassador as well. His work with UNICEF and other organisations has been widely documented. But of course, He is without that, sir. I mean, he's been given various honours throughout the years, but I'm sure that some people would say that he does deserve a knighthood. But it has been a big issue about allegations about his tax affairs. There was further comments that he made about the honours committee several years ago. Now, is this a problem for him moving forward? Some may say, yes, it is, that it's sort of the relationship that you have to have with the honours committee. You need to be humble. He certainly wasn't that when he made those comments a few years ago. They were very, very spiky indeed. But a new book is coming out talking about allegations to do with his tax affairs. And this could land him in a bit of a sticky situation. But listen, I'm a big David Beckham fan. I think, we've got the European Championships here at the moment. He's supporting our boys on the field as well. So potentially he might get that knighthood. But I'd like to see it sooner rather than later.
Let's hope so. Russell Myers, as always, thank you for joining us.